Creators who think they are the moral police or the righteous ones of the internet. Typically, the ones that are always quick to try to cancel people, get them brigade against other creators, somehow always turn out to be the worst kind of people. And today's example is ImAllexx. If you don't know who he is, you probably do. He was a creator that was exposed for being a very horrible person to his girlfriend at the time, and he basically lost his career. Now he's back. Now I don't follow this creator religiously enough to know uh how his return became, how it went, but we're gonna watch this video that better explains it, called I'm Alex's comeback is horrible. Link to the original video down in the description below. Like always, if you like this commentary and a reaction here on this channel, consider subscribing. With all that out of the way, let's get into it.
So around a year ago, a commentary YouTuber named ImAllexx completely lost his career in the span of 24 hours, as his ex-girlfriend Alice had exposed him for being a completely different person off camera. You see, Alice released this 82-page Google Doc where she displayed how toxic, abusive, and downright disturbing their one-year relationship was.
Which, by the way, why do they always look like this? What that I think it was like during the not the most recent Minecraft peak, they all look like this weird, scrawny, white type looking dudes. Like, not if you look like that, I'm not nothing against you. It's just for some reason the most recent wave of creators look like that.
How toxic, abusive, and downright disturbing their one-year relationship was. Hundreds of text messages, voice and video recordings, and other evidence was released to the general public all at once. It was a bombshell, and the people of YouTube feasted on this information like wild piranhas. Because for years, this man had presented himself as the nice guy, an ally to every community who had nothing but love in his heart. I want to say one time this dude even had e-girls and maybe some e-guys lusting over him online. I mean, this was his merch after all.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I have many gay friends. My father's gay.
Now, in all reality, Alex is an egotistical, self-absorbed clown who thinks he is superior to other people because he ran a successful YouTube channel. His ego was on full display when he would talk about how great he was and how his brain was truly an enigma too complicated for others to understand.
To the point where it's actually really hard to follow what I'm saying because it's so flexible.
He thinks he's a genius because he was successful on YouTube. As somebody who only recently is finding success and momentum, thanks to you guys, by the way, appreciate you guys watching my videos and showing me love. But I think there's a difference between being competitive. You can, as a creator, you can be competitive and like want to do better and like, you know, make very selective choices to be a better creator or just be competitive on YouTube. But the issue is with these people, specifically this guy, and not just him. Honestly, there's a lot of creators like this that have this like, I'm great, I'm the next thing to Jesus Christ. Like there's God, Jesus Christ, and then there's ImAllexx and Minecraft YouTubers, basically. So
I've gone, you could do this, but you might be able to do that, but you might be able to do that, and you might be able to do this, and this might work, but you might be able to do that. And it sounds mental. I don't even understand how you could possibly actually follow along to it. Like most of my friends struggle to.
He's just glazing himself, which also shout outs to her. Shout outs to your family. Nice kidding. The fact that, again, I didn't care for this guy. I just knew he existed on the internet and he was just one of those annoying creators, but I never cared for him or his content or even what he was doing. But when he got exposed, I remember it just being all over Twitter or X because everyone was like, thank God, because everyone was tired of this dude. But the fact that she has so much evidence, again, I don't know if, you know, whatever the evidence really means. I mean, it's not like he's a criminal, I don't think. But the whole idea is like, he was such a repeated person like this that there was just like, it's just easy to expose him for it. But yeah, it's crazy that everyone was subjugated to seeing this happen live.
To actually understand what I'm saying. But that's why I'm a professional and you're all not. And you think you can just ignore them because it's like, well, what's the worst that can happen? I don't know. Your boyfriend's a famous internet celebrity and doesn't trust these people because he has to keep his circle small. Because you might not have anything to fucking lose, because your life might be down the fucking drain, but I still have quite a lot that I would.
That's crazy. For your girlfriend to say that to your girlfriend is crazy. And if you're thinking, oh well, that's not crazy. No, you're dating this person. If you're dating this person, that means you're sharing the space with this person. You're sharing your time, and maybe, hopefully, who knows, you could probably share your future with that person. But if you never intended that, then why are you dating this person? This is very clear with with ImAllexx that he just doesn't care. But let me break it down for the people. You don't ever talk to your girlfriend that way, regardless of how you feel. Like, even if the man is the dominant one in the relationship, you never talk down to your girlfriend like that or your wife ever. I don't care what culture, I don't care what religion, I don't care whatever. It is very, 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 very weak minded, very weak in a weak representation of yourself. You're talking down to your girlfriend like that, because the whole point is that your girlfriend or your wife, it is an extension of you. Regardless of how you feel about it, they are an extension of you. So if you keep calling your girlfriend or your wife a low life, all that is saying to me is that you are a low life. Because your girlfriend, if you only date low lives, you are a low life. So never ever devalue somebody because you don't want to do it because that's just a terrible thing to do. But if you have an ego and you can't see what's wrong, let me explain it to your ego. If you date low lives, you are a low life. So no matter how you cut it, you will always be wrong in the situation. That is my opinion. I know some cultures allow you to do that. Not a fan of it.
Would like to fucking give.
You would think this guy was making Martin Scorsese level films the way his head was so big. I've actually interacted with quite a few YouTubers who were just like this guy, who basically act like they're God's gift to Earth because they touched a little paper and gained a following online, and it makes me sick. But being conceited was not this guy's worst offense, as there were these other video and audio clips where he was berating his girlfriend with disgusting insults and threats.
Thing about you, and this is the thing, and this is why I go round and round in circles. I joined Cool. Now, when it's too fucking late, you admit that you did everything fucking wrong. But when it actually matters, when you should lay down like a good fucking dog, you don't fucking do it. You fight for some reason. I don't know why you fight, because you're losing. And then you look like a fucking miserable fucking little cunt all the time. Like, your face is annoying to look at, like, when I come downstairs. Like, I'm actually fed up of looking at you. You actually, like, you don't clean up after yourself. Nigga, neither do you. Is it generally because you're just fucking brain dead?
Yeah, I'm very brain dead, yeah.
Is that why you decided to go on the fucking offensive instead of the, maybe...
Offensive.
Okay. Just do the normal route, but a normal girlfriend.
You're acting like this is all just me, and that's something you really need to fucking fix.
I'm gonna fucking bash your fucking head against the wall with a brick if you don't shut the up.
That is just a mere glimpse into the types of things he was saying to his girlfriends on a regular basis during their relationship. It seems like he essentially wanted her to always be available to him at his disposal, while he also looked down upon her because she wasn't working. And
also because she doesn't have... This is the irony about these dudes. What happens with these guys is they want somebody who doesn't have social clout, right? Because they assume that they'll be more reasonable, more normal. But then they'll look down upon them and shit on them constantly because they don't have that social clout, so they think they're better. And then later on, they'll complain about dating somebody who is an internet celebrity because then they get jealous of that person. So with these kind of individuals, these narcissists will always be unhappy regardless of who they are. For example, let me compare what this guy is like versus somebody like me. I make it very clear from the beginning, I rather have somebody who's not an internet celebrity as my partner or my future wife, because at the end of the day, the way I see it is I want to have privacy. I understand that when you become popular and famous, I understand that. Not saying that I will, but I understand that the more popular you become, the less privacy in certain ways you get. I understand it. I am aware that that is a consequence of these good things, certain good things. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not going to pretend like it doesn't exist. But that's why if I'm sharing my intimacy, my passion, my physical body, right, with another person, I want to have privacy, but not even just for me, but for that person, because I don't want that person to ever feel like they're inheriting all my problems just for dating me, right? We're not even married and they're inheriting my problems. That would suck for them, right? So I want it to be as fair for the other person too. So you see the difference? Whereas this guy needs either looks down upon you if you have no social clout, but then is scared to date people with social clout because it'll hurt his ego if they do better than him.
He was funding their lifestyle. He also came off as very manipulative, emotionally stunted, and without a better way for me to say it, he comes off as a massive puss. I do want to make it clear though that both of these people appear to be incredibly immature, insanely toxic, and they were definitely not meant to be together in general. I mean, even just on paper, right? A commentary YouTuber dating an OF girl sounds like a recipe for disaster. Like, honestly, if you were going to do social media stuff for a living, I would actually recommend that you find a partner that has a more normal job.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, there needs to be some level of separation. You need to be able to disconnect. Now, with that being said, though, I cannot even begin to imagine talking to any girlfriend I've ever had this way. It's one thing to get mad and say something you don't mean, or tell her to get out of your face or something like that. But to say you're gonna unalive someone, or that you want to bash their head into a wall, or allegedly destroying their property after they decide they did not want to be with you, that is the move of someone who cannot control themselves.
Yeah.
I'm crazy and you wouldn't understand me. You wouldn't understand the hardships I've been through.
You know, back when I was in my early 20s, I would oftentimes let my emotions get the best of me. Like something would make me mad and I would want to scream, I would want to cry, I would want to speed in my car, maybe punch a hole in the wall.
Fousey.
Or just dumb shit like that. That is until my dad sat me down one day when something bad had happened to me and I was freaking out. And he said, son, you're gonna go into the PLP Hall of Fame.
The PLP Hall of Fame, dude.
And I'm like, Dad, what's PLP? Like peace, love, and positivity, like Logic says? And he's like, no, son. It's an acronym for poor little pussy. Because honestly, you cannot let yourself spiral like this. That's when you are liable to fuck up and make life-altering mistakes.
Yep.
Either way, though, this entire year goes by and this dude just goes dark on social.
Which, by the way, look, I have, again, just to be clear, I have friends who are OF models. Just gonna be clear. I don't look down on them ever. I don't think less of them as individuals, because to be honest, some of them are making more money than I am, and I have a bigger following on YouTube. So something to think about, right? So no, hey, they make bread, they make their money somehow, and they always got more than me. So I don't know. I'm not gonna hate on them, right? But I say all that to say, would I ever date one? Probably not. Never. Just not my thing. Now I'm not gonna leave the possibility out because God works in mysterious ways. But I'm just gonna be saying right now, I don't hate them, but they're not for me unless the Lord comes to me in a dream and says it. All right, I'm just make that very clear for the future.
Social media. Ironically, the last video he posted onto his main channel was JoJo Siwa is hiding a dark secret.
The irony. Oh my God. And as somebody who covers JoJo Siwa religiously, basically, the irony is crazy.
When in reality, he was the one hiding his own skeletons in the closet.
I'm gonna fucking bash your fucking head against the wall with a brick.
Well, I'm sure this won't have any adverse effects on her future.
I just know JoJo was dancing at the crib down in Fireball straight out the bottle when this dude got exposed. It actually might be like a JoJo Siwa curse at this point. Like, y'all remember what happened to the baby?
And the things that are being hidden.
Wait, so if I've talked shit about JoJo Siwa. I'm scared now.
Are quite disturbing.
In all seriousness though, the dude finally responded with this hour and 42-minute video. And yes guys, I did indeed watch the entire thing. Like, that shit had the same runtime as Lost in Translation. Now,
which is by the way filmed in Seattle where I live, so
Essentially, Alex spends his time here saying, yes, I did some of those things. Some of the other allegations are untrue or have been misconstrued by my ex. And yeah, I might have been a piece of shit, but she is just as bad, if not worse, than myself.
Alice
Nah,
hit me, kicked
bro.
me, emotionally, verbally, and physically abused me, as well as threatened me and blackmailed me constantly throughout our relationship. Alice has continued to harass me by posting false information about me, as well as fabricating stories about our relationship online to this day. Since our relationship ended, Alice has lied continuously for the last 12 months that I was under a police investigation to friends, ex-girlfriends, and YouTube commentary channels.
He takes the interesting route here of basically saying that because the police never got involved, he couldn't have been abusive, which, let's be honest, most of the times the cops are not very helpful in these types of situations.
Well, I want to be fair here. It's not that they're not helpful. It's just the situations that they come into, 99%, I wouldn't say 9%. You know what? I don't want to overstep, but I'm just saying, like, typically in the investigations for these, and I know this because I have friends that are cops. The thing is when they come into a situation like this, it will typically not end up being that, and it would end up being something different because it's just like people are trying to get even, or it's a false report. But like, you see what I'm saying? Like, there's people are so unpredictable, and sometimes they ruin their own case for them by destroying evidence or not having evidence or certain things. And so, or like refusing to do a DNA test, stuff like that for various different things. So it's like, it's not as clear cut. Now, granted, I'm also going to be fair in saying that sometimes cops just don't even show up on time, or way later, 2 days later, when everything, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, they're not as responsive, especially depending on where you live, on actually showing up. So it's a two sides of a coin type deal, I think.
As it obviously becomes a lot of he said, she said. Actually, only 5.7% of incidents end in arrest, and only 0.6 ends in incarceration. There is just a lot of back and forth here when it comes to the derogatory language used, and also to allusions of physical violence from both sides.
Alice wrote right at the end of her document that for legal and obvious reasons, she wouldn't attach all the evidence she has, but in due time, it may be made public. Not only is this not how police investigations work, but Alice has not posted more evidence since, despite saying the supposed investigation had now ended. This is because there never was an investigation, as it was a lie.
Now, she has already clapped back at this claim, posting several screenshots where authorities appeared to be in contact with her as recently as this last summer. But still, Alex kind of retains here that he is the real victim to her toxic
So yeah, that's a good point. It doesn't even matter, really.
behavior.
As Alice has continued to lie about me and the she put me through during our relationship, whilst blackmailing me and threatening me. Alice has created a one-sided narrative that does not show the reality of what had happened during our relationship, as Alice intentionally left out hundreds of text conversations that would disprove her stories and false narrative that she has created. Instead, it would show that Alice had been a for our entire relationship, and that she has not stopped harassing me for the last year.
Now, I find it pretty strange when he claims that she was lying and harassing him after their breakup, when he was contacting her from burner profiles after he had gotten blocked. He was sending her letters through the mail, he was sending her notes via Amazon, he was sending her hundreds of messages on Facebook.
Yo, this guy's a freak. Sorry, I don't know why I went full cam. Hey, I sent you a message on Facebook. You haven't opened them. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but I don't want to have to bump you over socials. Sorry, I don't try to do my British accent. You know, I don't hate British people. I just want to be honest here. If you've known me long enough, you know some of my OG followers are from the UK. So like, I just want to make this clear. For some reason in the past, not the last couple of videos, but I forgot which video it was. Somebody thought I hate British people. I don't.
And that all sounds like someone who does not want to let go to me. Now, over and over, he talks about how she's the one who actually hit him. He says that she would kick him frequently, and he also cites this text message over and over where she admits that she slapped him in the face, which she did also admit in her Google Doc.
Alice had also been kicking me, which she admitted to me on Facebook Messenger after she had lied that I was on Claire's Law. That she had been slapping, punching, and kicking me
What is she, Latina?
throughout our relationship.
Kidding,
when I brought up that she had been me throughout our relationship,
Alice responded by saying that any girl would have done the same. Alice then
Nah,
excused this
dude.
behavior by telling me it's okay for women to hit men if they are being an asshole.
And this is why I say this guy Alex is tripping, because if I'm paying for a place that me and a girl are living at, and every day she's apparently treating me like shit like he says, and she's punching and kicking me, I'm not gonna retaliate with physical violence.
I'm gonna kick her
bags
out.
would just simply
Yeah.
be packed, and the locks would be changed that day, and if I had to call the police and get them involved, I'd go that route too. But him trying to twist and turn this thing where he somehow is gonna come out as the victim is just ridiculous.
I blow hot and cold. You've seen me. I'm apologising 1 minute, shouting the next. Angry 1 minute, please come here, hold me. I read old iMessages from us from the beginning of the last year. I could see how I caused everything. Jealous about you playing games with your friends because I wanted you to dedicate your life to me.
And it's funny how he brings up this text message over and over again, but he does not acknowledge these other messages where he says he kicked her, and he also says that she never abused him. Now in her Google Doc, she discussed several instances where she says that he got physical with her, claiming that he dragged her on the ground, pushed her, and put her in a headlock. He denies all of this using vague text messages that he attempts to explain. I mean, it's like half the time his proof is that there were no text messages or videos to support her claims.
Alice knew she would be...
Here's the deal. Like, I think this is a classic situation of, if you, well, regardless of how you feel about this guy, this goes down to those who support him, right? So like, this is not, the judgment doesn't come from the community, because as long all of YouTube already made up their mind, we already made up our mind that this dude's kind of a piece of shit anyway, just because he always, it's ironic that he claims to be the moral police but ends up being a shitty person. So we've already decided, like us as YouTube already decided, but this video is entirely for his followers that want to either believe him or not believe him. But either way, I hope that they make the right choice, whatever that is, to continue to support this guy or not. I'm not calling for deplatforming this dude, but at the end of the day, it's not really what we want. It's always what his community wants, right? So I mean, I think it would be different. I think this whole situation would be different if he just came on and said, look, some of the things that she said wasn't right, wasn't accurate, but as somebody who had power in the situation, I could have made better choices, and I apologize for that. He literally could have said that, and that he was getting help, and that he's going to make better. He could have just been more transparent about, or just made it more, not so much about her being wrong, but more about him trying to get better. But clearly that's not what's communicated.
Using them in her document, and that she had been planning this full story about me. Alice has used these texts to make it seem like I had physically assaulted her when this never happened.
But honestly, dude, when you're on record saying shit like this,
I'm gonna bash your head against the wall with a brick.
And we've also seen these text messages, it's hard not to imagine that you might take it there.
I'm really deeply sorry that it took me this long to really reflect properly on everything. I was still victimizing myself.
And just a little side note here, I've never seen people who live in the same apartment or flat or whatever the hell they call it, who text each other so much while being in the same home. And honestly, after watching this entire 1 hour and 42-minute video and reading through her document, the real one I feel bad for is the goddamn cat that was living with them. Because it does seem like their main point of contention was him. As a matter of fact, he mentions this cat like 67 times. Yes, I did count.
I had told him to stop saying...
Okay, he just Controlled F and typed the word cat. Okay, buddy. Calm down here.
Weird things to the cat. I began talking to the cat in a silly voice, and Alice was laughing with me. He then goes on to say I have punched him in the face over the cat, but it was because of me making these jokes about the cat. This wasn't the first time where Alice had treated me this way over the cat. I had asked Alice many times to stop hurting me for being affectionate and talking with the cat, flat on my back in bed with the cat on my chest.
You know, even your relationship with the cat, like, I was upsetting you. Why doesn't she want to share the cat with me? And it's because of the way that I was
Sorry, my
acting.
dog is being schizo.
Look, guys, I don't even like cats, and I'm about to go rescue that motherfucker right now. And honestly, the rest of the video is not really worth breaking down.
Same.
Alex denies most of it, especially everything physical. and the only thing he really seems sorry for is the way that he spoke to her. But still, he retains that she's the manipulative liar.
I can fix her.
Who had this master plan to expose him. He even kind of stands up for himself and saying the N-word, claiming that she was also dropping slurs too.
Dropped messages that showed her using the same racial slurs that she had accused me of bringing into our relationship.
Now, to be fair to him, I do think that she was chasing some clout, making all these relatable TikToks and trying to fish for interviews. But really no one cares because he's the known person in the situation.
Yep.
Like his fans thought they knew his character and they did not expect this.
This is one of the things too I need to warn if you made it this far in the video, and if you're like a woman content creator, and if you're in your mind the way you think you're gonna gain clout and popularity is by dating someone popular, that can be true in the short term, but in the long term, you will be forgotten. Let me make that very clear. That may be true in the short term, but in the long term, you will be forgotten, especially when it comes to drama like this. Think about the whole Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp was the most popular man in the world and then became a nobody because of the Me Too allegations that came from Amber Heard. So she was benefiting in the short term. But what happened? Years later, it come out through the trial that she actually was a piece of shit. Now nobody talks of her and nobody wants to mention her name. But Johnny Depp, on the other hand, is back to where not back to where he used to be, but is back to being a household name. So the idea is, yes, you might feel like that's the way you climb and blah, 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 blah. But I'm telling you right now, ladies, it will never, ever, ever work out that way. If you want a relationship with somebody, you got to go in it with the genuine purpose of a relationship, not for clout, because it'll never work out the way you think it is.
But no matter what happens, because at this point, only her, him, and the cat will truly know, I do think that both of them need to seek some sort of professional help at this point. And for this fool Alex, his career and image is still ruined in my opinion.
Maybe not everything
Dude's
deserves
a clown.
a comeback.
Not everything deserves to come back. Shut up, dude. I fucking hate this guy. Just kidding. I don't hate him. I think he's a clown.
He doesn't really attempt to directly address the threats he said in those voice recordings and videos, and this is actually the closest he gets to any accountability.
I was horrible to Alice on many occasions.
Yo, should we reach out to Alice and interview her? I'm just kidding, nah, dude. I think I would get some. I would probably get shit for that, for instigating.
And I deeply regret this behavior.
But I can fix her,
nothing
bro.
will justify that. But the order in which these events have been
Let me
portrayed
fix her
is
for you,
false,
brother.
As Alice is once again ignoring that she had tried to hurt me when I was just talking with our cat. I fully admit that I used horrible language, but as you could see, Alice would insult me too, but would only focus on my behavior and would completely ignore her own.
I'm sure this little weasel will likely try and revive his career after this, but honestly I think it's over for the fake nice guy. Like, this video of him could have been 10 minutes long and it should have been released 10 months ago. He should have just apologized, maybe expressed that he was trying to better himself, and owned that he saw how toxic he had become. You know, really owned up to the messed up things he said, while also explaining that he never got physical with her like she said he did. But instead, to me, this video was really just him pointing his finger and saying, see, she's not really a good person either. But I want to know what you guys think about this information down below. Do you guys think that Alex can regain a career online? Do you think that his fans are like satisfied with this response? He's trying to grab me. Either way, I do want to thank you guys for watching today's video, dropping a like and subscribing. But as you guys know, some other YouTube responses out here need to be covered, so I'm out.
I think this guy's a fucking clown. He's always gonna be a clown. What do you think, little boy? What do you think? What do you think? Can you get the camera? Can you get the mic right there? You don't think nothing? You don't think nothing about it, little boy? You don't. Oh, you want to kiss? You want to kiss on the camera? I love my son. Anyway, I think the dude's a clown. I'll probably go watch that. I don't want to react to the whole thing, especially if it's a whole movie. If it's just going to be a dude stroking his ego and be narcissistic and shit. So I'm going to check you on the next one. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Will he ever recover? And if so, how? Check you on the next one. Bye-bye. This video is brought to you, actually, by viewers like you. Thank you so much for subscribing and being part of my journey and allowing me to be a part of yours. Let's create new memories this 2025 on our road to 1 million subscribers. And with all that jazz out of the way, I just want to say thank you so much. I love y'all and enjoy the video.